Hey, you guys, this is Jody Watkins, and I am back. This week, we are talking about physical exercise and fueling our bodies and how these things play a huge part in our mental health as well. Our mental well being has to be taken care of. Now, of course, this includes spiritually being filled up, but movement, you guys, plays a huge part in overall just how we feel, feeling better about ourselves, feeling more confident in our skin, but also our mental health. It releases endorphins that we're going to talk about here in a little bit that literally can lead to long term immunity boosting, hormone balance, all kinds of things. So, if you are experiencing any kind of irregularity in your life and you're just not sure what's going on, listen, tune in, make sure you're showing up to these videos every single week, and make sure you share them with other people as well. Okay. So, today we are talking about physical health and mindset. Mindset is always the first thing that I talk about when I'm coaching other clients. Back in the day when I first started everything as a fresh personal trainer, group instructor, all the things, nutrition specialist, I was not really thinking about how important it was to cover mindset and really just replacing habits. Because by the time I had got to that place, I was so just driven on trying to figure things out and learning and doing that I didn't think about that not everybody was there. Not everybody was in the same place as me. And as people started kind of falling off and over the years with all the experiences and then my own personal experience with mental health, I started noticing a trend. So let's talk a little bit about mindset. Every time somebody starts something, whether it's life coaching with me, or business coaching, any kind of thing that we're doing, I always say you have to know your why. Why are you here? Even when people are like, hey, I really need help in nutrition, right? Maybe it's just one little area that they need help and they book a strategy call and we talk about these things. And I say, well, why now? Why is it important now? And there's a reason I ask that. Because if I don't, it doesn't allow the other person to understand why they're making it important now. Because everything that I coach on, it's not necessarily new information. The information is out there. If you want it, I promise you, you can get access to it. But what I normally find is that most of us, and I say us because I've definitely struggled in different areas of my life as well, most of us have old software programs that are running in our minds that are telling us we're not going to be able to do it anyway. It's not sustainable, right? And then, God forbid, life happens, something happens in our lives. And the first thing we do is quit on that thing that we decided to show up for ourselves on. We decide to quit on us because that thing just became more important than we are to ourselves. Now, I'm saying that for a reason, and I want you to take a moment and think about your own personal experiences and your own story. Do you quit on you when tough times come? Do you have a goal set, whether it's exercise, business, nutrition, all the things? Do you have a goal? And when something comes in that is designed to take you off course, because we all know that's how the enemy works. When that thing comes in, do we put all of those other people's or the people's who are involved in that thing, do we put their needs first? Or do we continue to put our needs first as well and then implement what we need to do after the fact? The problem with most of us, as women, as moms especially, we are so programmed to put everyone else first. If you did not see the videos on self care last week, make sure you tune into those. It is so important, you guys, to make sure that we are showing up for ourselves. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I kind of got into this journey. I started in fitness and health many, many years ago. Let's see, I'm 46 now. I was about 19. Okay. So y'all can do the math on that. I started working in a gym down in Gainesville, Florida. And I really got interested. I was seeing older individuals. I was seeing, people back in the day. I didn't know what multiple sclerosis was, but I remember having a woman that had multiple sclerosis. Later on, when my mom had it, I remembered that instance, right? And that really made me want to learn more. Plus, I was an athlete as well. And so I was really just trying to learn from people around me. People around me knew more than I did. And so that's where everything started for me. However, as life happened, I too put myself on the back burner and the goals that I had in the health and fitness industry. I put all that on the back burner because life was lifing. And I didn't know, I was too young. I didn't have those tools. And so as I've evolved in my coaching, I've realized that a lot of people, especially the younger generation, they are not empowered with the proper tools to be able to keep going when the lifes, right? I didn't have those either. So what did I do? I quit a lot of the things. I ended up in the military, which was great, but that wasn't what I wasn't doing in the military what I was really knew in my heart I was designed to do. And here we are full circle, and I'm doing the things that I was designed to do, but I have a lot more experience at the same time. So in 2009, after being a caregiver for my mom for a couple years and learning that medications were killing her, and that's how I learned nutrition, I also wasn't taking care of myself because I was in the military. I was also pregnant that year. I was in school. I started taking medical classes because I got really interested in the medical field, taking care of my mom. And I put all those things first. And guess who I put last? Me. My mom passed away in September of 2009. Our daughter came 3 months later, and I was still putting me on the back burner because now I had a child. I also didn't have time to heal from the loss of my mom. And then I went to physician assistant school, and it was just this ongoing cycle of just keep going, keep going, keep going. No one ever teaches us that you have to pull back sometimes, right? And that's why I don't ever teach people that this is going to be a perfect thing. None of us are perfect. So I will never tell you that you're going to be showing up at the gym every single day and you're always going to be able to put one foot in front of the other. That is absolutely not the truth. What I will tell you is if you are consistent and you don't quit when life starts lifing, you will see all the results, whether it's mental, physiological, and psychological, which is mental, and physical, which is the outside, right? You will see all these changes over time. But another thing is we have to be patient enough to get there. Okay, it's easy to quit. So let's go through some of these things, all right? First off, so I told you a little bit about my journey. I had to start putting myself first. So after a couple years, I think it was around 2011, I got in a real deep depression, and I realized that I had to start taking care of myself. And so what did I do? I became a group fitness instructor because there were no classes that were at the time that I needed them to be. And I'm just that person that will create something if I need to. Y'all should know this about me right now. If you've known me for a while, you know I will create it if it doesn't exist, okay? And then because of my own personal experiences with surgeries and having to modify a lot of different exercises, even though I was in a group fitness instructor, I knew that there had to be more. And so I became a certified personal trainer. So that started the journey for me again. This was back in 2013. Okay. That's when I finally regained the certifications. So that's been a little bit of my journey. All right. So let's talk. What is the importance of physical activity and mental well-being? I had a conversation with a lady just yesterday at the gym that I hadn't seen in a long time. And she said, I just started back, but I forgot how much better I felt when I exercised. And I said, wow. And it was funny because as we were talking, I said, I really wish I could record you right now because a lot of people think I'm making this up, but I'm not. I promise you, there's a ton of research out there and my own personal journey. And you can literally talk to anybody that is on their health and fitness journey and has been on it for a long time, and they'll tell you they feel better. It's not all about a look. And if that's your primary thing, you might want to check yourself. It's not just about achieving a physical look. Okay. It's about implementing better habits. It's about showing up for ourselves. That's what it should be about. And if we keep that at the forefront, the physical look will come. But once we lose sight of the actual thing that we should be focusing on, if we're only focusing on the physical aspect of it, and that doesn't go fast enough for us, guess what? We're gonna try other things that could send us to the hospital, or we're gonna give up completely because we're not setting a proper foundation. We're focusing on the wrong thing. In business, it shouldn't be about how much money we are making. It should be about the impact that we get to make and the money we get to make through that impact. All right. Let's talk about, I get this question all the time. When is the best time to exercise? For me, in this stage of my life, morning is better for me. However, this is where consistency comes in. There are some days, just like today, as a matter of fact, where my spiritual wellness had to come first and my workout can come later. Now, I don't work out too late in the day because I know my energy goes down later in the day. Some people it increases. That's fine. So basically, you have to figure out what works for you. But I'm going to give you some benefits of morning exercise. Okay. These are some things that I started learning along the way that I actually have seen in my own life. Because I was a shift worker for many, many years. I have gone from working out at night, working out in the morning, working out in the middle of the day, later in the day, all these things. I've tried it all. In this stage of my life, it's better if I work out early in the day, but some days I need to work out a little bit later, just not at night. I don't work out at night because that actually keeps me up. I'll go sit in the sauna or something relaxing, read. So that's just me. Let's talk about the benefits for morning exercise. Increase consistency. This is the big thing, especially as moms, parents, right? We got kids, we got people pulling at us all throughout the day. So for me, I realized that if I work out earlier in the day, I actually am more consistent. I can stick to it. I build a routine. But I know some people, they have some, debilitating things going on and they're not able to work out first thing in the morning. So I'm not going to tell those people to do that. So what I do is I say, find a time that you can be consistent with based on your schedule, your needs, the needs of people around you. Are you a morning person? Are you not a morning person? Whatever that looks like for you. I don't care what time of the day you work out. Just make sure you can be consistent. Okay. Keep the commitments to yourself. That's the biggest thing. All right. But the benefits of morning exercise show that there is usually increased consistency. All right. It can become part of your routine, making it easier to stick with it long term. Metabolism booster. There's a lot of science on this, you guys. There are a lot of studies out there. It does, exercise first thing in the morning does boost your metabolism, especially when you're doing strength training. People do cardio and things like that, and that's fine. But when you're implementing strength training, you're actually burning at least 3 times more calories throughout the entire day. That's what the studies have shown. Okay. I learned about that in one of my certifications. All right. And there's a lot of other studies out there as well. So it can kickstart your metabolism and help you burn calories throughout the day. So that's a good thing, right? Also, improve mood and energy. If you are in a services business, you should be focusing on spiritual, mental, and physical health first thing in the morning. Some form of exercise. I don't care if you're doing yoga, I don't care what it looks like. You need to be doing some kind of movement first thing because that's going to help you show up for everybody else because you've already shown up for you. You've done everything that you need to do. You fed your mind, your body, your soul, right? So it's going to improve your mood and your energy throughout the day. It's also been shown to equate to better sleep. For a lot of people, and the studies have shown that it's actually more people than not, more people actually can't sleep after working out than those who can. Now, does that mean that if you're one of those who can sleep better working out at night, that that doesn't exist? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the studies have shown, and I know in my own personal that this is the case. I actually sleep better when I work out first part of the day. Okay. So better sleep. Fewer distractions. Fewer distractions. I do not turn my phone on first thing in the morning. I have it on do not disturb until about 8 a.m. There's a reason for that. And most people know, unless it's an emergency or, it's my kid or something like that, just don't bother me first thing in the morning. That's my me time. All right. So that's the time that I blocked out for myself. All right. So let's talk about evening exercise. What are some of the benefits for evening exercise for those of you who work out at night? Enhance performance, your body temperature, and your muscle function peak in the late afternoon and early evening. I have noticed that I can lift heavier a little bit later in the day after I've had, been eating and things like that. And my body is nice and warm. Sometimes I have more strength. Sometimes I have it in the morning. It really just depends on the day. It depends on the person and it depends on how you function best. And that's just getting to know yourself. Okay. But it can lead to improved performance and strength during workouts. So for those of us who are strength training, and especially for those who take it another step further for bodybuilders and power lifters and things like that, sometimes you will find that you have more strength later in the day than you do early in the morning. Okay. Stress relief. Exercising after a long day can help reduce stress and unwind. I actually have a red light sauna that I sit in consistently, not every single night, but consistently, right? And that helps me as well. So find the thing that works for you. All right. More flexibility. Some people find that evening workouts can be easier to fit into a busy schedule, especially if you're not a morning person, like I said earlier. That's okay. I'm not going to tell you you have to work out in the morning. Like I said, you need to find a time that works for you, and that's what you can commit to. And as long as that's what you can commit to, that's great. But just know that sometimes when life changes and your needs change and the people around you, your kids, if they're in sports, if they're in this, that, or the other, right? Sometimes you might have to switch it up and just get used to that other thing. And sometimes, it can take a while, but that's okay. So just be, again, it's about what you can do to create a routine where you can be consistent. That's what matters. All right. Better recovery. They have found that certain level hormones in the evenings, like testosterone, can aid in muscle recovery and growth. Okay. And then, of course, the social aspect. If you're one of those that goes to the gym to be social, you will find more people at night than you will first thing in the morning. All right. And then, of course, group exercise. I would say if you're struggling with being consistent at first, find a group to be involved with, right? And invite other people. Invite other people, okay? Think about personal consideration, schedule, lifestyle. Choose the time that works seamlessly for your schedule. Again, I can't harp on that enough. Your schedule is your schedule. Only you know your schedule, right? The only time I tell people to try doing it in the morning is because they can't find it anywhere else in the day to do it. So I'm like, all right, block out some time in the morning when not everybody's tugging at you, right? But if that doesn't work for you, great, figure it out. But make sure it's something you can commit to and that you will commit to. Pay attention to your body's natural rhythms, your energy levels. Are you more energetic in the morning? Are you more energetic at night? Pay attention to these things. You have to become very self aware. All right. Another thing, try not to do vigorous exercise leading up to bedtime. All right. Studies have shown that when we do that, it's hard to get our brains to settle down. So it depends on the person, but for some people, it does wake them up. So working out at night is not going to work for them because then they're not sleeping well, right? So sometimes you might want to shift it to a different time. Morning exercise, sometimes people can't stay awake during the day, right? I've been that person before. When I first started, it took me a while to get used to it. So then might want to make your workouts later in the day. Again, what you can commit to. Okay. That's the part that matters. So basically, the best time to work out is the time you can commit to consistently and it aligns with your personal preferences, your lifestyle, what you need to do. Whether you choose to work out in the morning or the evening, that doesn't matter. Just make sure it can be a regular part of your routine. So now that we got that covered, we can move on. Right. Because I get that question so often, and people are like, how do you work out in the morning? I've just trained myself to do that because I chose to. That's when I could do it. That's what worked for me. All right. Let's talk about physical activity and the impact on mental well-being, since that's what this video is really about. All right. Endorphins released during exercise are tremendous and they impact our overall well-being long term. Okay. So what are endorphins? Well, we have these different hormones. We have, sensors in our bodies. Electric synapses are happening all over the place, right? From our brain all the way through. So these hormones get released. And, a lot of them are called, we have beta endorphins. So beta endorphins are the most commonly recognized endorphin release during exercise, and they act as a natural painkiller and mood enhancer. Most of the people who work out aren't in a bad mood. Also, if we're doing it correctly, we should not be getting hurt more. Now, if you don't have the proper training or if you're not working with someone who does, that's when you might get injured. So I always tell people, work with somebody who knows what they're doing, who can teach you, and that way you prevent some of those initial injuries, okay? Because we don't want you getting more injured. We want you to feel better. But what I tell people is a lot of people that know all the injuries that I've had, the surgeries, and I have bulging discs and things like that. And people are like, how are you still doing the things that you're doing? And I'm like, well, I listen to my body and I would hurt worse if I didn't do them. If I didn't do anything, I know that I would hurt worse. I've done it before, right? So we have to, pay attention to that stuff. Let's talk about, reduction of pain and stress. Beta endorphins bind to our receptors in the brain that reduces pain perception and creates a sense of euphoria, happiness, right? You hear people that run a lot, they'll say, I'm on a runner's high, right? That's what they're talking about. They feel good. Regular exercise can lead to sustained lower levels of pain and stress over a long period of time, improving overall quality of life. You see older people that have been, active their whole entire lives, they're usually able to move better. And even if they do have mobility issues, they're still working through it, right? Because they've built those habits. Improvement in mood. Let's talk about enhancing the mood. Provides a natural boost to mental state. These endorphins provide a natural boost to mental state and combat feelings of anxiety and depression. For those of us who deal with anxiety and depression on a regular basis, this is very important. So I always tell people I exercise for mental health, right? This is why I'm here. I have to make sure that I'm taking care of my mind, of course, spiritually, mentally, but also physically. Okay. So it provides that natural boost. And then the long-term effects, consistent exercise leads to long-term improvements in mood, decreased symptoms of depression, anxiety, and enhanced emotional resilience. All right. These are just things that we need. Exercise also releases those endorphins that help with our brain function, right? Are we people that need to think, be able to keep going and be able to use our brain throughout the day? This exercise has been shown to enhance that as well. The endorphins help in clearing the mind, increasing focus and concentration during and after exercise. And then the long-term effects for that is implementing regular physical activity is associated with better memory, quicker learning, and sharper thinking skills. And it also can reduce the risk of cognitive decline with aging, like dementia and things like that. Now, does that mean that if you exercise every day, you're never going to get dementia? No. I actually had an aunt who still ended up with Alzheimer's disease, and she was very active throughout her life, okay? But if there is a chance that we can combat that through physical activity, why wouldn't we want to do that? That's the thing that I focus on a lot. It's like, I know that everything I do, whether it's eating properly, fixing my mindset, habits, exercising, I know these things are not necessarily going to combat everything in life, but they can help, right? Even a few years ago when I started shopping with the online wellness shopping club that I shop with now, non-toxic products, everything that I needed in one place. When I started purchasing the products, and that was because I did a study on lung cancer and understood that, a lot of these toxic products that we're buying in the stores are enhancing, our cells to definitely have become disfigured, and then that can cause cancer. So anything that I can do to combat that, I'm gonna do it. Once I learn, I always say, once I learn, I can't unlearn. So once I learn about these things, and I do research a lot, I don't just hop on every little bandwagon that's out there. And so be careful with that because there's a lot of them. But if you see me linked up with something, I promise you there's a reason why. All right, so think about these things. Sleep patterns. The endorphins lead to improved relaxation and reduced stress. All right, long term, this can help regulate sleep patterns, lead to a deeper, more restorative sleep, and better overall sleep quality. Because we're also lowering anxiety and depression at the same time. Okay, so think about that. Increased sense of well being, we just feel better. We've shown up for ourselves. And over time, that can really help us with our self confidence, our self love. And if we love ourselves, we can love others and they can love us too, right? Show up for ourselves. We have to. All right. Some simple exercises for busy moms. You guys, I have a community and I'm going to show you. Let's see here. I can figure out. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to show you my community. All right, inside of this community, I have documents. So my community is called Step Into Your Greatness. All right, if you go in, once you sign in and you join the platform, which you have to join because it's probably something new that you haven't joined yet. Or if you're already in there, you have access to these things as well, okay? There's all kinds of things in here, but if you click on documents, there are different documents in here. So I have exercise info documents, some things that you can do right here, home workouts, things like that, okay? So there is a few things that you have free access to that can help you out. There's a bunch more in here. You can check them out. I just always tell people click around, okay? But I just wanted to show you that because there is access to these things, okay? You have body weight exercises, short cardio routines, stretching, yoga, all kinds of things. And I do ask people to implement strength training, but you can get resistance bands, you can get a couple kettlebells, some dumbbells, and you can do a bunch of stuff at your house. You don't even have to go to the gym, right? I've talked a lot about the personal physical aspect of, prolonged exercise over time and how it's helped me. So I would love to hear from you as well. Have you implemented an exercise program into your life over a long period of time? And how is that benefiting you? Definitely comment on this video and share your experiences with that. Or if you go into the community, make sure you go to the discussion board and let's start a discussion on that. Like, how is regular exercise positively affecting your life? Or do you need assistance with certain things in that area? The whole premise behind having the community is to bring everybody together. And so that way we can help each other out. Okay. Most of the time, you're not the only one with the question. And so that's why I ask people to put it in the discussion board, because that way the other people inside of the community can see it as well. Right. Reflect on your own experiences, consider how exercise has impacted your own mental well-being, and share it with others. A lot of people that are struggling in this area of life, and they would love to hear your testimony, your story. All right. And I have a ton of testimonials from other moms of how, the coaching programs that we do. And of course, I cover a lot of other topics, not just exercise, but the programs that we do have allowed them to become less overwhelmed and feel better about themselves. And at the end of the day, that's my mission. You know, I want people to be able to step into their greatness. I want them to feel good about themselves, because as I continue to do that, and it's long term, it never stops, okay? But as I continue to take steps towards my greatness, the better I feel and the better I am for everybody else around me. So I want you to consider that. That should be a big enough why to keep going. All right, so some of the points that we talked about, we were talking about, you know, different workout schedules, when you should go to the gym. Figure that out on your own, okay? If you need somebody to help, you can book a strategy call with me. I'll help you out with that. We can talk through it. That way you don't have to be in it on your own. We'll look over your schedule and then I'll help you figure that out, okay? But you got to figure out what works for you based on your schedule. All right, and we talked about how exercise releases these endorphins that over a long period of time can help us all out tremendously. So for people that don't exercise, you know, I've actually come in contact with people who, you know, they're on these diets, they're doing these things, they've lost a lot of weight, but they don't exercise, and they're just not the best version of themselves because of that. They're missing that essential piece, the movement. Our bodies are designed to be physically moving. We are designed to exercise and enjoy ourselves, right? So we need to be able to implement that into our lives. And we've talked about how these things can ultimately help with depression, anxiety, sleep quality, all these things, okay? So if you have not placed exercise into your everyday, well, I don't want to say everyday, but into your consistent lifestyle, because everything has to be a lifestyle. If you have not done this, I want to encourage you to begin. Pick 2 to 3 days that you will commit to, and go ahead and pick the time of day as well. You know, you have to have a strategy in place for everything. You can't just, you know, wing it. I tried that for many years, especially in business, and that did not work out very well. So don't just wing it. Have a plan in place. Discuss it with other people that will support you. See if they want to be involved in your plan. That's your accountability. So make sure you join the community, come on in, engage, answer some questions that are already in there for the discussion questions. Make sure you go inside the documents and check that out as well. You'll have the link to it here. All you have to do is go to my Linktree and join the Step Into Your Greatness community. I do have a paid coaching subscription group if you'd like to join that as well. That is on my Linktree as well, and you'll actually have access to ebooks and other things too that can help you out along your journey. All right. So thank you for tuning in. I know this was a little bit longer of a video, but I really wanted to make sure that you understand how important this aspect of life is. And then, you know, for women, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, but strength training is super important for women as well. I have a whole thing on that in my book, Reclaim Your Life, in chapter 5, that talks about exercise. Okay. So you can grab a copy of that as well if you want to look at that stuff. But there's a ton of benefits for women for strength training. All right. And men, but y'all know I gotta focus on us women. We got a lot of things going on. All right. All right, you guys, have a blessed day. Thank you again for tuning in. Make sure you share this with someone who needs it. Make sure you comment, join the community, step into your greatness, and let's be part of something bigger than ourselves together. Have a great day.